Next on the news, Pope Leo XIV is standing with U.S. bishops as they take a stand for immigration reform. The prelates releasing a message of solidarity as New York shepherds look to the patroness of immigrants to guide Catholics wanting to help.
Mother Cabrini fought for newcomers on these streets in Brooklyn, and now New York bishops want you to follow in her footsteps. I'm Jessica Easthope. That story's coming up.
The sainthood cause of an American mom is moving forward. The Vatican giving the green light to this atheist turned Catholic pro-life advocate. Plus,
I know.
I love this photo. My favorite photo in the whole book.
She's teaching kids their Caribbean ABCs, helping the next generation connect to their culture with this children's book. In honor of Black Catholic History Month, we introduce you to Carlin Lawrence. I'm Christine Persichetti. Currents News starts right now.
I would invite especially all Catholics, but people of goodwill, to listen carefully to what they said. I think we have to look for ways of treating people humanely, treating people with the dignity that they have. If people are in the United States illegally, there are ways to treat that.
Pope Leo XIV has given his stamp of approval on the U.S. bishop's strong stance on migration. It was the first time in more than a decade that the shepherds of the United States united together to take a stand. They released a message of solidarity for migrants, asking the Lord to guide leaders in creating meaningful immigration reforms. Just one day later, on the feast day of Mother Cabrini, New York State bishops called on Catholics to follow in the footsteps of the patroness of immigrants and to treat newcomers with respect and dignity. Currents News' Jessica Easthope has that story from Carroll Gardens, the neighborhood the saint called home.
Mother Cabrini was an immigrant who helped build New York City, the first American citizen to become a saint.
History will sometimes repeat itself, and we have gone in this country through periods of nativism. Mother Cabrini saw that firsthand, and her message is timeless.
That timeless message: welcome the stranger. It's not hers, but Christ's, which is why New York State Catholic Conference Executive Director Dennis Paust says the bishops of New York are taking a stance not based on politics, but faith.
This is really a statement of gratitude for immigrants and what they bring and have historically brought to this country, and really a call to charity and civility on the part of everyone.
The statement touches on several key areas of immigration. The bishops make it clear they want regulated immigration.
If somebody's coming to this statement making excuses for open borders and unrestricted immigration, they're going to be disappointed.
And the bishops acknowledge that some who have arrived in the United States don't belong here.
Deport criminals, sure. Get them out of here. If you've done bad, if you're a drug dealer, if you're violent, we don't want you in this country, right? That's not what's going on.
In recent months, immigration and customs enforcement officers have been seen conducting violent arrests, and detention centers are often the scene of protests. The bishops of New York say enforcement must be carried out in a humane way that does not target hardworking and law-abiding people.
The overly aggressive efforts that we've seen has been way over the top, not necessary to accomplish the goals I think that most Americans support.
And they want to see respect for the immigration and customs enforcement officers, too. The bishops say temporary protected status, which allows immigrants fleeing poverty and political violence who arrived as refugees, needs to be upheld.
And they are here legally. They did follow the rules. People can't live in this kind of fear. It's inhumane, it's unchristian, it's uncharitable, it's un-American. There is a middle ground. It should be a unifying issue for Americans, and instead it's become one of the most divisive.
As the bishops look to Mother Cabrini, they're hoping you will join them. They want all Catholics to pledge to treat every newcomer to New York with the dignity they deserve. In Carroll Gardens, Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
One of the co-authors of the New York Pledge, Brooklyn Bishop Robert Brennan, joined Currents News to speak about the statement. He discussed what the shepherds of the Empire State are hoping will come out of it.
And one is a message to the immigrant community itself, to our parishioners. They make these are people who are our parishioners. They're very much a part of the life of the church. So it's a message of hope and accompaniment. It's a promise a pledge to stand firm together. Word of encouragement. The interesting thing is you speak about the fear that's there, and that's true. But God bless the people of God. They rise up above the fear, and I give them a lot of credit. So that's one thing. The other thing is really a pledge of solidarity for all of the community that, we stand together. And then it's a gospel message. It's a teaching of the gospel. It's a reminder of the teachings of the Lord about basic human dignity, that we all share because it's a gift given by God, and that we are created in the image and likeness of God. So, I think it's a very balanced statement. It's an attempt really to recognize some of the challenges that the government and the administration faces. There's no denying that. Some of the problems that are taking place in terms of crime, these are very big concerns of ours as well. So I recognize it. We recognize that there's really irresponsibility all around, and that the present administration inherited a whole bunch of problems from the past, and that the way things were when people were living in shelters in Brooklyn and Queens and all over the country, and when there was a lot of human trafficking and things like that, that wasn't a good situation either. So we try to recognize that. We also make a point of recognizing the dignity of the law enforcement officers, as you see some of the different protests taking place. There's peaceful witness in some places, but there's also violence and inappropriate kind of behavior, and that is wrong as well. So I think this statement, one, is balanced in that it tries to recognize the challenges that everybody faces, but it calls forth that human dignity for everyone. And the other thing is that it's rooted in the gospel. I love the idea of releasing it today on the feast of St. Francis Cabrini, and the idea of referencing that mural in the back of St. Patrick's.
Absolutely. To further clarify the bishop's position, they're not opposing the deportation of criminals. In fact, they support that. Where then should compassion be directed instead?
Compassion should be directed. It's not even. I'd say compassion, but again, that basic respect for human dignity that goes across the board to everybody, including the criminal. So yes, if there are criminal actions, have criminal consequences, but even there, we have to treat people with dignity and respect. And then I think that for us, what we want to do is show solidarity with our own neighbors. One of the concerns that we have, we haven't seen mass deportations here in this part of the country. I'm afraid that we might start to see some of it now as things get a little hot in terms of the politics in New York City and New York State. But we see, and we're very concerned about people who are doing what they're supposed to do, people who are given a certain status. And you can argue about the validity of doing that in the past, but those are people who are here in good faith, and they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're going to show up for their court dates. I think particularly of the Haitians, Venezuelans, and Nicaraguans, people who are really fleeing violence and persecution, were given the status. And then when that's revoked, all of a sudden, people who are here in good faith are now in a new category. And some of these people and others are sometimes, we're hearing stories of people being arrested right as they appear for their court dates. Those are things that concern us. Again, I really do believe we had a statement also of the U.S. Conference of Bishops this week that came out yesterday. We had prepared this a couple of weeks ago and timed it for St. Francis Cabrini. But, in that statement, in the USCCB statement, we said that we recognize all of the needs, and we want to, there is a way that law and order and human dignity can come together.
That was Brooklyn Bishop Robert Brennan. The bishop's statement is a call to action that includes a pledge to treat every migrant with dignity. So if you want to take the Cabrini pledge yourself, just pull out your phone right now and scan this QR code. That'll bring you right to the pledge page where you can read it in full and sign up. Plus, you can find more resources to take further actions. The bishop's concerns about a volatile immigration climate come as we continue to hear stories of ICE raids across the country.
ICE out of Raleigh now!
ICE out of Raleigh now!
Thousands of protesters marched and rallied along the streets of downtown Raleigh, North Carolina, protesting the immigration crackdown in the Old North state that started last weekend. Dubbed Operation Charlotte's Web, more than 250 people have been arrested as of Tuesday night. North Carolina Governor Josh Stein says he supports the arrest of criminals, but is critical of the tactics the agents use, saying it's creating fear in the communities.
They're just sweeping sidewalks. They're sweeping parking lots. They're going into stores and churches. This is not about public safety, and I wish that it were. They're stopping people on the street randomly based on the color of their skin.
New Orleans could be next with the planned immigration enforcement starting as early as December 1st. Over in Chicago, a U.S. appeals court decision temporarily blocked an order that restricts use of force methods by agents. The three-judge panel said a lower court judge overstepped earlier this month when she imposed strict and wide-reaching restraints on how agents can interact with protesters and journalists. The November 6th order prohibited several methods of force, like pulling or shoving. The move comes as a coalition of Catholic faith leaders have filed a suit to seek access to an ICE facility where they've been denied access to distribute communion. A federal judge in Texas has temporarily blocked a law that required the Ten Commandments in the classroom. Tuesday's preliminary injunction is in response to a lawsuit filed by a group of Texas families arguing the law violates the First Amendment's Establishment Clause, which prevents the government from establishing or favoring a religion. The order calls for school districts included in the lawsuit to remove the Ten Commandment displays by December 1st. It is temporary, and further court proceedings would decide the law's fate. The canonization cause of an American mom of 7 is moving forward. The Vatican has issued a nihil obstat for Ruth Pakaluk. It establishes the importance of the canonization cause of the atheist-turned-Catholic pro-life activist. She was declared a servant of God by the Holy See's Dicastery for the Causes of Saints, marking her first step to sainthood. The next step is for the U.S. bishops to vote on her cause. If approved, the formal diocesan inquiry into her life of faith can begin. In honor of Black Catholic History Month, we introduce you to a Queens mom who wrote a children's book about the Caribbean. She was inspired to do it by her son, hoping to make him feel connected to his roots. Caribbean ABCs is more than a book, it's a legacy.
I remember when we went here.
Carlin Lawrence and her son Brett have flipped through these pages hundreds of times.
And we were at this exact spot.
I know.
I love this photo. My favorite photo in the whole book.
That's because Carlin wrote this book. Caribbean ABCs is her love letter to her heritage, and Brett was the inspiration behind it. She started writing it when he was born.
Okay, he's going to be born here, he's going to be an American. I still want him to know his heritage, and I really want him to have this connection to the Caribbean.
Carlin was born and raised on the island of Dominica, a place she still calls home. And even though she now lives in Laurelton, Queens, she brings that Caribbean spirit into her everyday life. From the kitchen to the conversation.
My husband and I, we use certain phrases that, we only use back home. We cook a lot of Caribbean food. We play a lot of local music.
But for Carlin, her culture is more than just food and music. It's grounded in her faith. A parishioner at St. Mary Magdalene Church in Springfield Gardens, her strong Catholic roots were first planted back in Dominica, where more than half the population is Catholic.
It becomes part of you. Like, I cannot separate my faith from my whole experience, my whole human experience.
While Caribbean ABCs celebrates her heritage at home, Carlin mixes her culture with her Catholicism, ensuring both are part of Brett's story.
They've always told me to try to learn from my mistakes and understand God better and try to pray more and to pray every day.
Turns out Brett shares a creative gene with his mom. He creates his own comic books, drawing original characters. So mom and son say they may collaborate on another book about the Caribbean in the future. We'll have to wait and see. Do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number, 718-517-3122. That is this Currents News Update. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.